I think it's a lot better than it was, and that it's getting a lot better because when we were younger, I didn't think there was a whole lot of representation. I know growing up for a while, I thought like the beauty standard was like white people, blonde people, like blah, blah, blah. Like my favorite princess when I was little was Cinderella because I like wanted to be like her, and like my Barbies were blonde, and like it was very hard concept for me to grasp that like people of color like could be represented in media because it was always just like white people or like blonde people. So growing up, I really didn't get to see a lot of like minority representation, and my friend group at home, we're all like people of color, can echo that. But then as we got older and like we're in high school and we're seeing it more and just like kind of understanding our role in our culture more, we're like, wait, that's like not what it has to be like. So I think it's been getting a lot better, and I like where it's going.
There's a lot. I think people of color have a lot more agency now in the industry. Although it's still like there's still a long way to go from like where they were before. I don't know. You see like these young creators from all sorts of reaches of like the world, and they're making really really cool content. They're having a lot of fun doing it, and there's right now. I mean, it's tough because their ideas are like pushing. I think like the perceived boundaries of like what media can be at points, and it's sometimes the people up top don't like that too much, but we're also starting to get more people of color in those leadership positions in general, and then that allows creators to do more.
I think that it's definitely increased, especially like since I tend to watch a lot of like older like 1990s rom-coms, and then compared to now, there are a lot of different examples. And so like one of my favorite movies is Crazy Rich Asians, and so I feel like the representation in that compared to all of the films in like the 90s, it's cool to see all of the people of color in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yes, definitely growing up.
There hasn't been like a specific time where I've thought that, but like when I'm prompted with the question to think about it, it definitely is something where like I grew up just watching all like a lot of Disney Channel shows that were predominantly just like white girls, and so I didn't think much of it coming from like a very middle income classic family, and so I didn't think anything much of it. But then looking back at it now, there wasn't ever like a time where I was like, hey, that girl looks like me on TV.
That's all you saw in all your TV shows, all the main characters, all the like girls that you wanted to be like in like the shows you were watching, like they didn't look like me. So that was difficult because I didn't really resonate with any of them. And it also made me question when I was younger, like, why don't they look like me? Is it because like I'm not pretty to like be the main character, or like people like me can't be in these things? So it makes you like kind of second guess like yourself maybe like growing up, because it's like, is there a reason why like they don't cast people that look like me? So that I think is something that was huge when I was younger. And then as I'm getting older and as like I was in high school and college, I'm like, no, that's not it. That like that's not the reason why. It's just because there's like a lack of representation. I feel like Disney has been doing a lot better, especially with like their movies and their short films. I think they've been doing like a really good with that as of recently, and a lot of their movies have been diving more into like people of color representation in stories. I know just recently Bridgerton season 2 came out, and the main character, like the female main character, is a person of color. She's Indian, which was huge because they don't get a lot of media coverage, like that culture specifically. So that was like a super big deal, and I thought they did a great job of like integrating her culture into like the show, but also not like throwing it at the audience in like super obvious ways just to like make a point. So I thought they did a great job with that.
I'll go with Encanto, one of like the newer Disney movies. Coming from a half Hispanic family, it's cool to see like the train of like generations in that movie, and seeing the abuela represented as like such a strong, powerful woman in that. And then having like my grandma having come up from Nicaragua too, and seeing how she's like adapted to the United States culture has been cool.
Jordan Peele, who, you know, got us started. It's weird that like I think a lot of people in the industry too, it works the other way around as well, but you know, you think of Jordan Peele, who is this like he's this amazing director now, right? He directs these like fantastic movies that I always get really excited for, but like he had to start in front of the camera first to get earn his way to behind the camera, and it's not like, I don't know, like you were saying, like representation is going up in front of the camera, but behind it's still lacking a lot. I don't know. I still just think there's some very, I think, unethical is even too light of a word to say, practices, I think, that are just kind of passed down, unfortunately, in that industry, which is tough, but we're breaking through, hopefully. It's hard to accurately portray somebody if you don't actually get to know them or like live and learn their experience. So it kind of goes back to why having diversity in these fields of media is so integral, I think.
I think this is a really cool topic to like look into, because it's definitely something, as you said, is getting better, but as always, there's room for improvement. And it's interesting to see now how much that's going to change and how fast it will, because I feel like, especially in 2 years, there's been a lot of spotlight on like issues like this, and like representation, and like understanding people's different cultures in all settings, not even just like media, like in healthcare, that's like a really big thing, and like other settings. So it's interesting to see where it will go.
Creation should always be unique and different, and I think I think if like studios and industries realize, and production agencies realize that, you know, if they go on to realize, oh hey, like, you know, if we really want to get out there and be like pushing the envelope and like be creating like real art that people are going to want to take in, or like real content that people are going to want to consume, you have to come at it from a different angle, and getting diverse minds and getting people from diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences, and of diverse knowledge, you know, kind of things like that. That's what's going to lead industries like the film industry, the music industry, these media industries into like the next tier of greatness. And I think that is greatness. I think once you actually fully accept that music comes from, or not music, but like every art form comes from everywhere. So don't stop looking for new ways to create content.